Bear, thank you so much for joining me today. Your global education initiative, BecomingX, was launched in 2020. Why did you feel there was a need for it, and what impact has it had so far?
First of all, education is amazing. It's vital, it's important. Teachers do a fantastic job under huge pressure, and all of us can remember great teachers in our life. Likewise, probably we can remember the not so good ones. But I do feel, as so many people around the world feel at the moment, that there is a huge gap in education between actually the skills young people need for life and many of the things that are just taught in schools, and there's a lot of pressure on academic institutions and a lot of league table staff and academics. As you and me know, in the real world, other skills are needed. And it was really out of this need that Becoming X was originally born, to try and empower young people with things that are relevant for them and empowering for them, and close that life skills gap a little bit, and to demystify for young people actually what it takes to succeed in their life ahead.
There are no shortcuts to success, but there are some secrets.
What's the reaction been like so far, both from the students and also from the education system itself?
Well, education systems are always hard and slow to move. The big oil tankers, they move slowly. But the kids love it. It's the university we've launched now, Becoming X Education, in 250 schools. And it's been incredible seeing the take up. How often do we hear kids going, what's the point of learning this stuff? Is this relevant for me? And I think when you empower them with, personal development courses that's exciting and, great, it's Becoming X, kids love it. So the feedback for us has been amazing. The message now is let's spread this. We launched Becoming X Education worldwide today. It's now available for schools. And what's different about this is it's done with real people. So we've interviewed some of the most inspirational people on the planet, from astronauts to Hollywood stars, to sports stars, to Nobel Prize winners, to the best teachers in the world, to veterans, and asked them what's really helped you in your life, behind the scenes, what's really been key, and getting the kind of those really honest answers and putting them together in lots of films and clips and case studies that are really simple, just for teachers to be able to run as a program. And we do everything from kind of building resilience, to how to be a great team player, to how to deal with failure, to how to deal with social media, to how to be an entrepreneur and a leader, and things that we hope will be relevant and empowering for young people. And as a parent, I've seen it. I've seen it first up. I want my kids to have stuff, real world stuff, that's really going to help them as they leave school.
Talking about resilience, Bear, there's been huge challenges, of course, throughout the pandemic and as the world is coming out afterwards, and of course with mental health and well-being. What's your advice there?
Well, mental health is rightly a key part of all of our arsenal, isn't it? To be happy and to be successful in life. You've got to look after yourself, physically and mentally and emotionally. And I think these last 2 years have been incredibly hard on everybody, but I think especially young people, being separated from communities and isolated and living online in an online world. I think as we emerge from this time, programs and things that can empower people and give them that inner resilience are gonna fly. And in a way, this pandemic for Becoming X has been incredibly timely. We took 3 years building this program with all of these inspirational people, and to be able to launch Becoming X Education now at this time where young people need these skills feels it feels really right. And it's been amazing seeing the take up and the positive response from young people. And generally, people are savvy. Young people are savvy. They know the skills they need. And when you give them a few tools, they're like, okay, got it. And that's always amazing to see.
How does the business model for Becoming X Education work?
Yeah, so schools sign up to it and download it from becomingx.com, and it works out really super cheap, really, for kids individually. It works out, I think, for the schools to to put it into their program. The program is like £2 a year per student, So, and we've linked also BecomingX with our BecomingX Foundation to really empower, schools all over the world, even those that can't afford it, to be able to get access to this. This is a project where we're really trying to just make the world a better place and empower young people more, make it affordable and accessible. And we're beginning this journey. We're proud of our partnerships. We've attracted some of the biggest companies in the world to support this, who've wanted to take this program and sponsor it into tough areas and tough communities and difficult schools. And that's been amazing to see. But proud of the team. They've worked incredibly hard on this, and proud of what it's doing.
Bear, why do you think governments aren't doing more? And what would you like to see them doing in terms of supporting this type of education and empowering young people?
Well, I think first of all, government's got to realise that there is a gap. That the personal development side of curriculums is critical, is truly critical, and to understand that most of the programs out there are, underserving, and they're essentially quite boring. And, so for us to be able to sort of bring these, iconic, inspirational, I think above all, inspirational people to BecomingX, to share their insights has been key. But I think also governments have got to make time in the school curriculum for this, and that comes at a government level. That's something we can't do. We hear it time and time again from schools, is that when we trial it there, the students love it. The schools, the teachers love it because it's helping them do their job really well. And 99% of teachers are incredible like that. They want tools to be able to teach and inspire kids well. But if there's not room in an academic program, there's not time in the timetables, kids get underserved. So I think at the government level, it's support us, see the power of BecomingX, but also make room for it and make sure that any schools that can't afford it can afford it.
Where does your own passion to make a difference within this sector come from in terms of education?
Well, I was incredibly lucky at school. I got an amazing education, but even with an amazing education, I still felt in so many ways under-equipped for life. And so many of the key lessons I've learned in my life have been just through experience and through, and through failing and getting it wrong. And often I think back and think, God, I wish I was taught that stuff as a kid. And I hear this so often from so many people, and I think the truth is in my education that the most valuable thing I learned, I was never taught. It's absolutely true. I was never taught it in a classroom. It's about how to deal with failure, how to pick yourself up, how to develop that never give up attitude, that tenacity, that, having the courage to not listen to the dream stealers and set your goals and physically set them and go for it and understand the role of failures and obstacles and storms that come your way and learn the tools that are going to help you, the skills you need, the attitudes you need, those winning attitudes you need, how to build relationships, how to gain knowledge. And like I said, I think young people get this, but you've got to give them the kind of the nudge and the tools and the kind of the place to go to find it.
Who have been some of your role models? Who have you looked up to?
I think, so many people in my life, often I do really remember great teachers. I think that first and foremost, like I said at the beginning, when you find a great teacher, it stays with you for life. And I feel in many areas I stand on the shoulders of giants like that in my career, and some of the early teachers and later teachers were inspirational for me. I think my late father was a great influence as well. When I came back, not always with very brilliant school reports, I was never at the top of anything, whether it's sports or academics. When I came back, those things weren't important to him. I remember he used to go, "Are you happy? Are you loving what you do? Have you found something you really love? How are your relationships with with your good buddies?" And those sort of things always matter more. And in many ways, those are the sort of things we're trying to teach. He was ahead of his time, really. He's no longer, alive now, but I know he would be proud of this. He'd dig the values that this stands for, and he'd want to champion it in my kids and his grandchildren. So in some ways, they're sort of old values and old skills, but in many ways, they're needed now more than ever, and they're more relevant, and they're actually new skills. So it's interesting space and time, isn't it?
It is an interesting time, as you say, Bear, and values are so important. How worried are you about the next generation, specifically in our current climate as we see it?
Well, I think I'm not going to be an old guy pontificating about young people. Instead, I'm going to say what I experience, which is that young people are amazing. You know, truly amazing, more resilient, more innovative, more pioneering, more ambitious than we can ever imagine. You know, it's like, who was it, Walt Disney, who said that young people take on the impossible and make it possible time after time. You know, it's young people who are going to change the world. It's young people who are going to solve climate change. And as young people are going to take tools like Becoming X and make it their own and make it bigger and use it, you know, for hopefully for good. But schools have a job to do, you know, and we fail young people if all we do is focus on academics and you know, natural talent for kids. You know, those things don't have a lot of currency in life. You know, they have currency at school. School heroes, always the sporty, the academic, the good-looking one. But the life hero is different. The life hero is always the dogged, the determined, the resilient, you know, the person who might not get noticed, but he keeps getting back on his feet. Even when he gets back down, he gets up again, he keeps going, he stays to the vision. And these are the sort of skills that we're trying to teach at Becoming X.
And what's your vision for education and Becoming X going forward?
I think the vision for this is that Becoming X becomes this digital personal development program that is accessible all around the world for everyone, for schools, you know, twinned with schools that can't afford it, but empowering for students at all ages to be able to learn these vital life skills, to demystify what it takes to actually succeed, to be able to reevaluate and refocus on the things that are really going to help them beyond school, not just in school.
And for you personally, Bear, what's your next adventure?
Well, I've just got back from the Arctic late last night with the Royal Marines up there, seeing some of their training they're doing. It's amazing. I'm back for a day at home and then heading off to Central America, to the jungles, back on Running Wild, back filming with many of these Hollywood stars. Again, many of these Hollywood stars who've helped us so much on Becoming X, you know, letting us into their lives and their failures and their struggles as well as their triumphs. And I'm always grateful for that show and grateful for all it stands for. Excited for the adventure, never giving up.
Bear Grylls, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Dan. You're amazing.